Well, first of all, we have to assume that what Pompeo is saying is truthful, and there's no evidence that it's truthful. Why would Maduro want to leave the country when the so-called coup had collapsed by early morning? When already the general staff and the military had already come out and said that they were remaining loyal to Maduro, and that the only individuals that actually were supporting Guaido and Leopoldo Lopez were a handful of National Guard, no officers that actually commanded large number of troops, and no officers that actually commanded military bases. So I would question Pompeo's declaration. We've seen Pompeo and Bolton and Abrams and Trump engage in false flag operations. And this strikes me as, again, one of those that has no evidence to sustain it.
We have seen a lot of violence on the streets in Caracas. What or who is keeping the Maduro government in power right now?
Well, I think there's two important elements to consider. One is that despite the economic crisis, which Maduro bears responsibility and which has been worsened by the sanctions, he still has a level of support. And even among those who support his ouster, they don't, in fact, trust the opposition. So that's one element. The other is the military. The military has demonstrated up till now complete adherence with the Maduro administration. And by that, I mean the upper echelons of the military, those who control military regiments, divisions, and those who control military bases. So that's the other important area of support. Plus, he also has international support from Russia, China, Turkey, Cuba, and a handful of other countries that have not joined the U.S. and the Grupo de Lima, the Lima group, to oppose Maduro.
How would you classify what the opposition leader Juan Guaido launched today? Is this a coup or is it an uprising?
Well, they called it a coup, but if you're going to launch a coup, usually you would have the generals at your side when you have that press conference. You wouldn't be making an appeal to the generals to come join you. So obviously, it was an effort at provoking some sort of crisis that has a view towards internal, but also towards external. That is, he was trying to convince his followers that he had been able to fracture the military and that some were going to come join him. But he's also trying to raise the stakes internationally, particularly with the Trump administration and with the Group of Lima, indicating that they may have to intervene, whether that intervention is a military blockade, whether that intervention is a naval blockade, as has been discussed previously, but to raise the stakes against not only Venezuela, but also raise the stakes against Cuba in this context. So that obviously, but they may have overplayed their hand. And if they overplayed their hand, there will be consequences. Already Leopoldo Lopez, who came out of house arrest, has sought refuge and asylum in the Chilean embassy. This also tips Maduro's hand, because if he doesn't arrest Guaido, he looks weak among his own base of support. So again, this may have escalated the crisis, which may have been what Guaido wanted.